sisters and friends! My name is Jasmine, and welcome to another episode of 5-Minute Flashbacks, where I take you on a 5-minute time travel journey through theme parks. This is my number one producer and writer, Benny. He's here to supervise today's shoot. And without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Alright, Benny, go on and supervise. Bye! Okay, so in last week's episode, we talked about a popular but controversial Halloween show that took place at Universal Studios and was cancelled in recent years. Now, if you missed last week's video and you want to take a minute, pause this video and go and watch that one to get caught up, go right ahead, because this week I want to talk about something really similar, but that happened in the Cedar Fair chain of theme parks instead of Universal Studios. So, let's take another trip back in time. Back a little farther this time, all the way to the 1970s. Knott's first Halloween haunt event was back in 1973, and is today regarded as the oldest, largest, and longest-running Halloween event held at a theme park. In its early years, though, the event was in a huge stage of discovery and expansion, which is why in the haunt's third season, 1976, a show was created and added to the event's roster in which a couple of murderous outlaw characters were hanged before the townspeople of Calico, aka the theme park guests in Ghost Town section of Knott's Berry Farm. Knott's Scary Farm. And Calico was kind of the majority of the theme park experience back then at Knott's, so this was kind of a main event, and it was actually created specifically to cross boundaries, and according to Knott's, to, quote, do something even more outrageous than ever before. So over the next several years, the show evolved and grew, and so did its lore and backstory. Instead of random outlaws, a suspected witch was hanged, and eventually she was given a history of her own. Sarah Marshall, Green Witch on the Gallows. She would be the main character of the hanging for many years, transforming her accusers into monsters and terrorizing the park. That is, until 1989, when the vibe completely changed. Now, I can't tell you why, but in 1989, the vibe of The Hanging went from like spooky and scary and creepy to a comedy pop culture roast. Look, the late 80s and the early 90s were just a weird time in general, so I'm just gonna chalk this up to that and move on. So now, The Hanging was primarily focused on comedy, dance, pop culture references, and roasts. Earlier years of this phase still seemed to focus mostly on Halloween characters, but it quickly spiraled into a random pop culture and celebrity mashup. In its last few seasons, you could catch the hangings of celebrities, politicians, and characters from Miley Cyrus to Donald Trump to Thor, God of Thunder. And just like I said about the Bill and Ted show at Universal Studios last week, no IP was safe from The Hanging either. The Hanging did take a slightly different approach to its writing, however, in that the writers at Knott's would update the script sometimes several times throughout the season to make sure that each and every showing had the most current pop culture and social media jokes. That said, the writers' efforts to keep the content fresh didn't stop The Hanging from facing the same fate that we talked about last week. Around 2018, Knott's could tell that the public opinion about the show had started to take a turn in a bad direction. Many guests were writing in to complain about the content of the show. According to Knott's entertainment producer Eric Nix, this was around the time that they started to plan the retirement of The Hanging at the end of the 2019 season. And if you actually watch footage of the 2019 show, which can still be found here on YouTube, you can tell that it was designed as a farewell. From the return of the Green Witch in the show, to the origins, Curse of Calico maze with her backstory, for those who didn't know it before, and the way that the show ended with her tombstone. It was a great way to bring things full circle and end the run of the show. But not everyone really wanted the show to end. Maybe just the comedy roast version of it. At the end of the day, I think the public was really just tired of the political and pop culture references bleeding into the haunt experience. I mean, politics and pop culture are scary enough as they are in real life. Let's leave them there. So when Knott's Scary Farm Halloween Haunt returned in 2021, this year, there were a lot of fans that were disappointed to see that the hanging didn't return with the event. Because like most things, it got cancelled in 2020. Many fans were disappointed to learn that a new version of the show wasn't returning with the event this year. The Knott's team has left it firmly in its grave for now. But there is hope for the future. Knott's Scary Farm is gearing up for its 50th anniversary of the Halloween Haunt event in 2023, which is coming up real soon. And rumor has it that we might get to see an all-new version in the 2023 50th anniversary celebrations. And I don't know about you guys, but I have my fingers tightly crossed that this new take on the story of the Green Witch of the Gallows is done in a way that better honors the original 1970s version of the hanging. And that's where I'm going to end today's video. What are your thoughts? Did you ever get to see this show? And if so, which version of it did you see? Would you like to see it brought back? And if so, how would you like to see it done? Or would you just throw the Green Witch to the wayside and start a whole new lore and a new story? What are your thoughts? Share them in the comments below, and I will see you next Friday.